Life on Saturn presents nothing. We got nothing. We got nothing. We got nothing. Nope.
And welcome again to a brand new episode of We Got Nothing Red with your host, Ayhan Ozyesil. Hello. And our special guest, a dear friend of mine and local partial owner of Medusa. And so many things, in the world of Derby. The list of hats that he could put on, it would be... I don't think he could wear all those hats at once. Or maybe he could. I don't know. But here he is, Bob Bever. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great as can be, during these times, I guess. But, how are things going for you?
Pretty much the same, although now I'm really thinking about, how many hats would that be, and could I wear them on my head? It might be like a leaning tower type thing. I'm not sure that I could pull it off quite that well.
I think I don't know, it depends on how many hats, which hats you're wearing, what kind of style of hats. There's some hats that lend themselves to that.
I think I'd have to, start, do, a pyramid shape. So, start large and then end, one of those little tiny party hats.
Is that what a pyramid scheme is?
Maybe.
Oh, okay.
I've got some leggings you want to buy.
Awesome. So, I'll just go drain my life savings. I'll be right back. So, awesome. So, why don't you tell us a little more about why we're here today? I know we wanted to talk a little bit about Medusa, and which is local shop where people do a lot of tabletop game playing and purchasing of these related items. Correct?
So I'm one of 5 owners of Medusa Gaming right here in Plattsburgh. We're focusing right now with everything how it is. We're focusing less on the get together in the shop aspect and more on just getting games and experiences in people's hands. But yeah, that's the big thing, is we're just trying to spread a little bit of cheer and love of gaming, as well as some learning experiences and stuff like that through games, like role-playing games and stuff like that.
Excellent. Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of studies that indicate that, things that are interactive on that level really help people connect on different levels that they wouldn't normally connect. Complete strangers could become friends by the end of a game. So, yeah.
And I'm friends with a lot of teachers that are also doing their own, Dungeons and Dragons is obviously probably the most well-known role-playing game out there, especially with Critical Role and all of those shows out right now. And it's a great way to get kids learning and experiencing these. Excuse me for that. It's a great way to get kids learning and experiencing all these different little aspects. It helps your math skills, it helps your reading skills, it helps just your problem-solving skills and things like that. So that's one of the great things that we're trying to promote, especially in the community. But yeah, so teachers all across the country are using either the remote learning aspect, or when they could, they were doing role-playing groups and clubs in their schools. So it's just an amazing way to teach.
Yes, I can see that too. Just the application and the problem solving is just naturally built into the gaming world, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And of course the allure is there, the fantasy and everything. It's just, I can see why teachers would have, a great time using that as a teaching tool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun for them too, which is, I'm sure that kind of just really adds to the whole experience as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because you never know. Like you think you know how like a story's going to go or how your players are going to react, but there's always that like chance, and it's quite a big chance that something unexpected is going to get thrown your way. So it's just a lot of fun and like learning and discovering of what's going to happen.
So, cool. And I couldn't agree more. So now, another thing I wanted to ask you about is, so say I'm just a complete amateur to the whole gaming world, and we're beyond the whole pandemic, and people are out and about and able to connect again on that level. They walk into the Medusa. What can they expect to find there?
You'll expect to find, especially if we're in a post-pandemic or the after times, as I like to call it, you'll find a good selection of games and just accessories and things like that kind of run the gamut. We've got your standard Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, like the traditional card games you think of, as well as miniature games like Warhammer and Marvel Crisis Protocol, things like that. But we're also, focused heavily on like the role-playing aspect and miniatures and painting and a wide selection of board games. And I think we wouldn't be doing as well as we are in that aspect had it not been for the fact that having a couple different owners allows us to focus our knowledge bases on certain areas and help everything else instead of being a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Yeah.
But along with that, in a post-pandemic world, and everything's safe to gather around again, you find a couple tables most weekdays. You've got quite a few people playing games at the shop. Whether that be a war game like Warhammer or just on a board game night, just people getting together. Maybe they know each other, maybe they're completely new. Just having a good time and learning new games or playing favorite ones.
That's awesome, and that's an experience that I've definitely seen unfold, and I can tell you, from firsthand, it's just wonderful to see people light up when they connect over a game, and just have a fun time and laugh, and hopefully we can get there again, and even if for now, if we could just share that experience with those that we are able to be close with, that's another thing entirely, and I'm sure
exactly,
that's people have been doing so, and I've been wondering about that. I mean, how have things been at Medusa with the pandemic? I'm sure it's been affected.
Things are definitely we're missing out on the community aspect quite a bit. So it's definitely a bummer not to see the regular faces that we have known to be there on a day-to-day basis, playing games. But at the same time, we're also using this time to do a bit more work out in the community and get more people interested and invested in learning games and spreading the gaming joy with their family. So it hasn't been too bad. Definitely the board game side of things has taken a hit because a lot of those you need a nice, good group to get together with. And unless you've got, the more traditional style family as you know it, a couple kids, and parents or extended family living with you, you don't have access to that. So on that aspect, it's taken a hit. But we've also been able to focus more on two-player solo games, games that are able to be played online, as well as the role-playing games, which lend themselves very well to playing remotely. You've got Roll20, you've got Discord, you've got Zoom, Facebook. You can play it so many ways. It's taken a hit, but there's been some good things coming out of it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, just naturally, of course, with the pandemic, we're going to have all these new fangled ways that Zoom, like you mentioned, which has become incredibly popular over this year.
Yeah.
Just the way we're doing things now, even this cast right here, it's definitely changed things up. But yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that at the very least, y'all are able to adapt and find new ways to reach the public and create that interest because, I can see it. It's there. I see people who, talk about online on Facebook about their favorite, tabletop games or card games, playing amongst, their extended family, or if they live with friends, happen to be lucky enough to have, people in their cohort in their living situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's excellent. So coming around, I was just wondering if there's anything else that you'd like to promote that off the top of your head.
Things to promote. I do so many things right now. We just put a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons starter kits in a lot of the little free libraries around Plattsburgh. We're trying to get those into the hands of kids, and that's something we'd like to be able to do a bit more often. So it might be something where we try to drop off, like, even monthly, like another game or something like that to help out. So that's for Medusa. We're also looking to expand our paint and take. So we've done in the past, WizKids is one of the main lines everyone knows for paint and takes. And they've changed up their program quite a bit, where now instead of just getting a mini and then relying on, like, either you having supplies or the store having all the right supplies, they're selling everything bundled in one box with a nice, well-done tutorial done by some of the painters out there you see on, like, YouTube and Twitch. So far we've had, I'm blanking on his name, one of the main guys for WizKids currently does, like, their weekly paint sessions or their monthly paint sessions on YouTube, but their last one was Bees Muse, which is another great artist. So it looks like they're going to continue just expanding that line of who's doing that. So we're going to be continuing on with that as well. Outside of Medusa Gaming, I do a little bit of content contribution to Victory Condition Gaming. Right now, you can primarily find me on their Thursday night painting streams, which are Getting Colorful with Tony V. So you've got myself, Doug from Victory Condition Gaming, along with Tony Vandenberg, one of the owners of the owner of Black Moon Gaming in New Hampshire. So we just get on. We spend like an hour and a half just painting random things. There's been some spirited debates about foodstuffs lately. So it's always interesting. It's just a bunch of people getting together and having a good time. Outside of that, it's not really promoting anything for myself. It's just been promoting, like, friends' campaigns and friends' Kickstarters and stuff like that. One of the benefits of being in this industry is getting to know so many creative people out there. And just being able to share in their joys and their victories of when, I've got a game coming out. We're going on Kickstarter. It's funded in, 3 hours, blown out of the water. I didn't expect this. And so it's just been doing a lot of that.
Well, that's cool. And I'm sure that's a lot of fun stuff to come. I mean, I've known a few people who locally have been developing certain games and stuff, and a lot of the things that I've been hearing have just been so exciting. So I can only imagine what's to come, and I'm very excited for it. And definitely keep me and us posted, and if you do, I'll definitely throw that down in the comments whenever that does happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for any listeners who are interested in finding out more about this. And I'll definitely do some more homework and put some more stuff down there as far as your other promotions, like you were talking about the Dungeons and Dragons starter kits. I'll definitely throw that stuff down there as well. So now we come over to the next segment, which is a brand spanking new segment I like to call Did You Know? And it's, the rules are simple. It's basically we take about a minute and we go back and forth telling each other any sort of fact that we think is a neat little fact, and we have to do it with a straight face, which seems simple enough, only the catch is we have to do it with our best impersonation of a chosen celebrity. Soon at random, but for now, we're going to go with Arnold Schwarzenegger. All right, so I'll give it a go. And you have to start.
I'm going to be at a severe disadvantage at this. I'm already starting to crack up here just thinking about it.
Well, the best part is we have to always start with "Did you know?" So we're delivering this very serious fact. So, all right, get the giggles out. All right. Smiling is fine. You just can't crack. All right.
That's going to be tough.
All right. I haven't started yet. Calm down. All right.
Did you know that DMX got his name from the little thing that is called the DMX, from where he made his beats? Yeah.
Did you know that meeple is a portmanteau of my people that came about during a game of caucus?
Okay, so that was probably a pretty easy win for me, but still, I'm not gonna lie to you. Had you not cracked on that last word, I would have. So I want you to know how close that really was. It was very close.
Yeah, I was fighting that down the entire time.
But that thing about DMX, by the way, that's true. That's how he got his name.
That's really cool.
Yeah, you remember that
What
thing,
was that,
the beat maker thing, the DMX?
Is that digital music experience or controller or something like that?
Yeah, that's how he got his name.
I heard about that a while back, like as a random bit of trivia, but I never committed that. That's.
I know, it's a neat little fact.
Well, it's just interesting, where these names come from and stuff like that. When I was thinking about this, and when you pitched this idea to me, the fact that I gave out the meeple fact.
Yeah.
Meeples are the wooden figures that everyone knows about in board games, and many people know about that. If you ask them where that came from, they would say, "Oh yeah, they're from the game Carcassonne." But actually, that game they're called followers, and so that was after the game was made. I think it was a woman named Allison was playing it, and she was describing them as my people, and then she did that nobody's nerfect thing where it's as a meeple, my people,
My meeple, yeah.
and that's where it stuck.
Huh, that's cool.
And DMX got it from something that he works with.
Yeah, that's how he. Yeah, if you listen to a lot of his beats initially, it's actually all done with that thing. You can hear it. It's pretty cool.
That's interesting. I'm gonna have to spend a bit more time when I come across something like that, or a new artist or something like that. Take a deep dive into did they get their name from somewhere fun, or something interesting along the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. While we're on the subject, right before we move on to the next segment, just that quick little fun fact: Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover, actually got his name from a randomized Wu-Tang rap name generator, the official one.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That one I've never heard.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I just thought I'd throw a bonus one in there. So thank you for doing that. I know that was probably very difficult. So next we move on to the top 5, and normally I would share my own top 5. And I might do that in the future, and maybe just do that either in the comments or in posts in the future. But I feel like for now, I want to focus on my guest top 5. So why don't we do that? And I believe you had a top 5 to bring to the table. And what would that be?
So that's going to be the top 5 of the favorite board games in my collection. So that was a little bit easier to limit down, because I trying to figure out a top 5 of just my top 5, like every game out there. That was going to be impossible. So I had a quick browse over my collection, and I think I came up with a pretty good selection of it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So my top 5. Number 5, and this was a pretty close one. It's a game called Tokyo Highway. It is a dexterity game, and it's basically, the components in it are the simplest things in the world. It's a bunch of popsicle sticks and a bunch of wooden bits and some little teeny cars. And your job is to, like, you are building highways around the other people, using these popsicle sticks, and then placing cars on these highways, like, for how you score them, with tweezers.
Wow.
But as you do it, like, it's one of the most it sounds simple, it's one of the most nerve-wracking things ever, because at any time you could bump the table or breathe wrong and everything just collapses. And you have to try to put it back together, otherwise you're, like, getting a whole bunch more parts that you don't want, because it's the first person to run out of parts wins, basically, or that's when it stops. So you knock things over and you get a whole bunch more parts, and things are not going well for you.
That sounds like a much more panic-inducing version of Jenga.
Oh, it definitely is. We're going to have to play that sometime.
I can't wait.
One of the random things is a couple companies for conventions and stuff like that, when we actually had conventions, they make giant-sized versions of their games.
Whoa.
So, like, King of Tokyo and a couple of, like, you've got the yard-sized, like, Jengas and checkers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Manufacturers do that for, like, big board games, and then you play them at conventions.
Oh my god.
And so we had thought about that for, could we build something like this and make it safe to have, like, play in the mall? Because basically you'd be, like, moving around 2x4s.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You knock those over, it's not going to be fun.
No. That sounds like a really cool game. I would definitely enjoy playing that sometime.
Let's see. Moving on, number 4 would be one of the prize games in my collection. It's not a great game by any stretch of the imagination. It's really simplistic, but it was one that I played at Nomageddon a few years ago. Someone had found it in a thrift store, and it's called Dread Pirate. And it's just one of the most fantastic constructions. Like, it comes in this giant wooden box. The map is a fabric map that you roll out and you place out. You've got, like, metal doubloons.
Wow.
And, like, just nice ships and stuff like that. So the rules are confusing. They don't make sense. It's not really a fun game to play, but it just looks fantastic. And so that's my number 4.
That sounds like a super sweet game.
It really is. Let's see. Oh, I had it written down, so I can just look at it. My number 3 is Last Night on Earth. This is one that myself and my wife, Jo, like playing, especially around Halloween time. It's basically, it takes everything that you love about, the more sticky zombie movies, and puts you into, like, one person is playing the characters, and the other person is the zombie horde. And you have different scenarios you're playing out. Maybe your characters have to find the gas and the keys to the truck in the center of town, while the zombies are, like, coming and trying to fight you. So it's just one of those, like, completely random things. It has so many different ways that you can play it, and it just changes every time. So that's my number 3.
Yeah, that sounds extremely exciting and terrifying, but in the best way.
It's a lot of randomness, but at the same time, the randomness is just so fantastic, because, like, you also have decks of cards for your character abilities and what you have, but everything is so thematic and flavorful. It's good stuff.
Awesome.
My number 2 is probably the pride of my collection. It's one that I searched out for quite a while and finally was able to get it. And it's also a piece of history as well. It's a game called Kolejka, which is a Polish game, which stands for queue. So, like, you are lining up and queuing in line. And it's from, what was it? It was published by the Poland Institute of National Remembrance in order to educate the younger population on the hardships that they dealt with during their communist period and the economic shortages that they had. So you were basically, the whole game is, you were lining your family up in front of these different stores, waiting for them to open, and trying to purchase, like, the goods from there in order to fill out your shopping list over, like, a set of weeks.
Oh my gosh.
So, and it's got, like, it's completely in Polish, so you don't know what it says. We've got, like, printouts and cutouts and things like that to show, like, these are what the cards say. These are what they do. And every time I bust it out, it always takes me, like, 20 minutes that I have to go through it and relearn it. But yeah, like, that's the pride of my collection, just on, like, I sought it out for so long, and then finally, like, found it at an auction. And then I found out that they republished it and reprinted it in an English version as well as did it for a number of different languages, because everyone that found it just fell in love with it.
Right.
It's simple, harsh, and just, like, a lot of laughs come out of it.
Right, yeah.
For the subject matter.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, and just the real world application of it is, I mean, listen, the games like The Sims are popular for a reason. We, for some reason, want to simulate our own experiences, but slightly differently. Or majorly differently.
Exactly. I mean, the next time you want to, queue up outside of the furniture shop to try to get some, I don't even remember the time frame that was. But it's all, like, the pictures on the cards are all, like, actual pictures of stuff that they had back then. So it's like, a dated table, this is like, an iron that would be hazardous today. and stuff like that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely want to check that out sometime.
And then the top one is one that, flew up my list this year. At the start of the year, I was able to get a hold of one of the boards, and this is Crokinole. So this is another dexterity game. It's like from the 1800s in Canada. It came about. This is a giant, like, 3-foot, in diameter circle that you are flicking discs and trying to get it into the center hole for the most points.
Oh, okay.
It plays, like, maybe 9 to 10 minutes. So each person just takes turns, like, flicking their discs back and forth. The board is all waxed, so you have to be really precise. You are trying to knock your opponent's discs off, as well as getting them in the center, or as close to center as possible to score the most points. And you can't move your butt from your seat. Like, the rules specifically state one buttock has to be in the seat at all times. So you can't move your chair. You gotta, kind of shimmy back and forth around your quadrant of the circle trying to flick these discs with as high accuracy as possible.
My gosh, so that's amazing. So that's like combining billiards with frisbee golf with shuffleboard.
Yeah, basically. It's miniature shuffleboard.
That's amazing. I can see why it's your number one. I mean,
yeah, it was one of those ones like, and since the board is so big, it's like, well, where am I going to put this? Because it's not like board games where you. But actually, I've got the case hidden here.
Nice.
Like, this is the size of the board.
Pretty big.
So this one's made by Mayday Games. So it's in my guest room and streaming room right now because it's so big and I can't really put it anywhere.
Fair enough.
But it's been one of those ones, like, Joe and I sat down and we spent like 2 hours just going back and forth. It's a race to 100 points. And you can play that in like maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Just, because you only have a couple of discs. And yeah, it's fantastic.
Well, that's awesome. Well, that's another one we'll definitely have to play once things calm down a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for coming onto the show, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And of course, I'm sure the town appreciates what y'all do at Medusa, because like that community aspect. And I don't know if you know this, my show actually has a bit of a focus on mental health and how much y'all contribute to that. And even, before this pandemic, in a good way, like how, having a place to go for some people that don't normally have a place to go to connect with people and everything. And, even if it's just getting these games and taking their mind off things for a while, like that, all of that's so important. And definitely... thank you for providing that space and that, I guess you could say, that know-how for the town. And especially with the starter kits and stuff that you put out, it's definitely something that I can see growing like it has been exponentially. And I can't wait to see how much further it goes. It's an amazing thing y'all do. So thank you.
You're welcome. I can't wait to be able to celebrate and get together with people again. Being able to, share these games and share these times with friends and strangers alike again.
Yes, likewise. I share those sentiments, friend. And so again, thank you so much for being on here, and I'd like to thank our producers and sponsors, Life on Saturn. And, I love it when we have the time to do this, and hopefully y'all listen and spread and share, and so we can do this more often. I know I want to do one with Bob on many other mythos and things that we can talk about endlessly. So definitely let's keep that going. So again, this is We Got Nothing Red. I've been your host, Ayhan, with your special guest, Bob Bever. Thank you again for joining us. And
It was my pleasure.
Oh, hey. Doubly mine. So, hey, have a wonderful evening, folks, and good night.
Hey, I'm Saturn Lunar Nova. Be sure to follow Life on Saturn Productions on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook to see our short films and music videos. Peace.